Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Suspense Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkis, and this is Mr. Robot, Season 4, Episode 9, Conflict, or Error 409, if you will, which is also conflict. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the huge crowd that's here. I just noticed in the chat. Wow. Um, Let me get a little bit of business out of the way first, and then we'll roll into things. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, you can hit the bell down below here. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you when I'm on. If you really want to know when I'm on again, actually just go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com. My schedule is up there. It changes out every Monday. I also post it on my Facebook page. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page which you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. I've got a Twitter, I've got an Instagram, and I've also got a Patreon page, but there's no tier set up as of yet. There will be at the end of this year, beginning of next year. I just want to give you guys some stuff if you're going to give me money. And so I kind of feel better about it that way. So if you haven't seen my podcast before, what I do is I do a recap. It helps me kind of go over the episode by going through the recap. That's why I go through these things. And then I do a review at the end. So bear with me on this. And as usual, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the lovely new paddle. And let's get started here. Wow. So there's a lot to unpack in this one, quite literally, even though we don't have all the scripts in order to do it. So yeah. And if you're wondering what this big board is behind me, that's an advent calendar. I kind of figured it was appropriate considering that this all takes place during Christmas. And we'll get to the advent calendar at the very end because I know people are like, get to the fucking thing, tell me what's going on. So that's what I'm going to do. So we see Mr. Robot, you know, uh, walking through a door, and then he goes down a hallway and walks through another door into that boardroom that we've seen. And that's where Elliot's mother is sitting and asks how he is. And Mr. Robot says, it's not going to happen today. And they're going to have to help him through this. And young Elliot's just like, why don't we just tell him? And Mr. Robot says he's not ready yet. We can't just tell him. And Mr. Robot wants to finish the mission first because he figures once that happens, then they can get him, they can get through to him. And Mr. Robot is going to show him what he's done. This is what he says. Uh, we're going to show him what he's done. I don't know what the fuck that means, but that sounds very ominous at this point. And then he says, Darlene is the one who woke him up months ago, and she is the one that can probably help us and help him. And I'm like, "Oh, shit. Okay, so has Elliot been dormant all this time? Has the other that we haven't seen yet been the one that's been driving everything up until a couple of months ago when, when all this started? Did Darlene actually awaken him at that point? We don't know, and, holy shit, that's all I can say. So there's a lot of stuff that's there. Mr. Robot, of course, visits Darlene and he's talking to us too at this point. Mr. Robot has started talking to us again. It's not just the voiceover, it's actually directed to us. And Darlene, actually, upon talking to him, realizes that it's Mr. Robot and she goes, I don't trust you. Where is Elliot? And what happened to Elliot? And he's like, he's not here right now. And he tells her, I can't tell you what happened to Elliot. He has to tell you when he's ready, is what he says. And Price shows up at their hotel room. They're right across the street from the Deus meeting. And Price shows up, and Mr. Robot's like, what the fuck are you trying to do? You trying to get us all killed? And Deus, Price says to him, when we're through with all of this, this is all White Rose's plans for the machine that she has. I want you to take down the machine because it was very important to Angela, is what he says. That's what I want to have happen when this is all said and done. It's pretty much he knows that he isn't coming back at this point of what's happening. And The plan is that basically once all the Deus Group members are there, they're going to steal all their cell phone numbers so they can actually get access to the Cyprus National Bank accounts and drain all their accounts at once while they're all in one place. So Mr. Robot ends up telling Darlene that Price was Angela's father. He tells her that much, and Darlene misses Angela. She says that, and Mr. Robot's like, "Hey, you want to talk about it at this point?" And she's like, "Nope, don't want to talk about it. Just want to get through with what we're doing, and uh, just go with it from there." So Mr. Robot notices that no one other than Price has entered the building, and he goes, "Something's wrong here. What's going on? Something's wrong." And Price goes into the building only to find Zhang sitting there, and Zhang wants to have a drink with Price at this point. So Mr. Robot tries to think like Elliot. He's like, what does Elliot would notice this stuff. He would notice what's wrong. He would find out what it is. And he tries to think like Elliot. And he starts looking at the computer and he's trying to find out what's out of place. And Darlene's like, you know what? Let me drive, is what she says. And she takes the computer from him and we see the meetings change. She goes into Wellick's calendar and sees that the meeting has changed, but it's password protected. And she, of course, needs to break into this. So Zhang tells Price that that basically he's going to go home, that the Deus meeting has changed locations, is what's happened, and that they're going to take Price back to his house. He's going to be injected with something. He's going to die very peacefully, and they're going to say that he died in his sleep in the news, basically, is what's going to happen there. So Darlene finds out that the meeting has moved up to the Wall Street location, and Mr. Robot says there's too much Dark Army here for protecting somebody. We want to know who it is, and we're going back and forth. By the way, at this point, so Price tells Zhang that Wellick isn't going to be making the meeting, and Zhang wants to know where the fuck Wellick is at this point. And Price doesn't know. He goes, well, maybe, he said he wanted to travel the country. Maybe he's in a convertible, going across country, with the wind blowing his hair. And Darlene at this point doesn't want to leave, but Mr. Robot's like, go. You go to the Wall Street location. I'm going to stay here. She goes, well, we only have one MC catcher. And he tells her to take it, basically. And Zhang, second in command, says that, you know what, Alderson is one at this point. He's one. Let's, scrub what we're doing here, go to the meeting, get that shit over with. It's over with. And Zhang's like, no, no, no. I want to stay here. I want to stay here with what's going on. She goes, if you stay here, I quit. And Zhang's like, yeah, we're staying here. She's like, all right, I quit. And Price, in the meantime, is just drinking and having a good time and just laughing about this stuff. And he says, oh, management problems, as he puts it. So yeah, it's some very interesting things. Yeah, everyone, you know what? You guys can chime in anytime. You don't have to lurk or anything like that. I do read your stuff as it's going by. Not everybody's, but I do read your stuff. And I do get to it too. I scroll back down at the end here too. So Darlene finds out that they're inside Cipriani's. That's where the Deus Corporation is, all these guys, and it's packed full of people. And she's trying to find a way inside, and there's just no way she's getting inside. I did notice there was one little thing. The servers that were going through actually had red wheelbarrow barbecue pork sandwiches they were serving. And I was kind of nice to have a nice little callback to Red Wheelbarrow being there as well. And we actually follow a server as she's putting on a coat to go outside to go and smoke, and there's guards everywhere outside, and they're like, nope, this exit's closed for the night, get back inside. Yeah. And Darlene looks across the street and sees a costume shop. So we see Mr. Robot in the meantime grabs his phone, and we see Darlene in the costume shop grabbing some stuff together and goes into a dressing room, and we see an F Society mask in the foreground, which definitely foreshadows something there at this point. Zhang's phone rings, and it's ringing and ringing. He's looking at it and he's like, I wonder who this is. And we hear it's Mr. Robot on the other end. And of course, Zhang thinks it's Elliot, and he wants to meet with Elliot. And Mr. Robot's like, no, no, I'm good where I'm at. I think this is fine. And Zhang says, well, if Elliot stops what he's planning, he'll reunite him with Angela because Angela's not dead. And he goes, don't fuck with me. Why'd you send me a picture of her? And he goes, no, I'll take you to a place where, you can walk hand in hand with Angela again. You can, uh, everything will be nice uh, you can reset all of your pain and your regrets and everything, just like I did with Angela. And Elliot at this point has taken over on the phone now, and he says, you used Angela and you turned her into someone else. You turned her into someone she wasn't. And then you killed her and she's dead. And then we see Elliot gets a little prompt on his computer that says turn on the TV. And he does, and basically tells Zhang to kind of fuck off and hangs up on Zhang. And on the TV, we see F Society is on TV and exposes the Deus Group and has a link to all the Deus Group's files of all the atrocities that they've committed, and then also tells the world where the Deus Group is meeting right now, all the members, that they're at Cipriani's. And, if you want to get, if you want to meet them, you can go over there. And Zhang is pissed off at this point. So Darlene ends up calling up Elliot and saying, you know what? She goes, did you see the video? And he's like, yeah, I saw it. And she says, well, I talked to Zhang. I talked to White Rose. She's like, well, what the fuck did you do that for? Because well, I was trying to get onto the phone, but it was Price's phone, is what he ended up calling. And so she asks him if he's okay. And he says he doesn't really know anymore at this point. And Darlene tells him that she's glad that he's back at this point. And then Elliot looks over the cell phone tower that's outside his window and goes, you know what? I'm going to try and hack the cell phone tower and see if I can get in. That way I can get White Rose's number. That's the only number that they actually really don't have access to because of the location. And Zhang, in the meantime, is on the phone with different Deus members that are calling him and they're freaking out. And he's telling them to stay put. And they're panicking, of course, and they're leaving. And Elliot is, of course, trying to hack into the tower. Darlene is looking for a way inside, but then she sees these guards are inside a parking garage with a barrier that pops up. And all the guards for the Deus members start getting calls from their bosses, of course, to come pick them up. And they can't get out of the garage because Darlene has blocked that exit digitally. She's actually digitally jammed it at this point. So Deus members start streaming out into the street, and Darlene just starts harvesting phone numbers left and right. I mean, she is just harvesting cell phone numbers like crazy. And one member basically says, fuck this, I'm gonna go get a taxi. And he starts to leave, and both ends of the street are just crowded full of people and media. And the media is down there at this point, and they are actually at this point broadcasting this as well. Finally, one of the guards he manually gets the gate down, and cars start streaming out and picking up these guys. But of course, they can't leave because people are at both ends of that whole, you know, street there. So Zhang is really panicking at this point. He orders his car to be brought around, and Price is drinking and just laughing at this point too. Darlene, in the meantime, has 99 out of 100 Deus group members numbers, and sends them over to Elliot to go and see if they're actually good. And we see, these the Deus group number. They're none of these numbers are matching up as he's going through the script. He has the script running, and nothing's matching. So Zhang is leaving with Price, and Price stops outside, and Zhang's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because the night air feels really good here. And he's talking to Zhang, and he goes, "You know what? I almost believed you that Angela was still alive." He goes, "That's how good of a con man you are." And he goes, "But I saw your guard, the Dark Army drag her body away with my own eyes." He goes, "She's dead. There's nothing we could do about it. She's dead at this point." And at this point, Elliot gets White Rose's cell phone number and starts to transfer. Basically, all the numbers start coming up good. And one of the Deus members who we had seen, he gets a bank text that his authorization numbers come through, which of course Darlene has used, and all the money gets transferred out of their accounts. So Zhang tells Price, you know what, to accept that it's over. And he laughs. And Zhang says, you know what, you should accept your own uh, advice. And at that point, Zhang's phone rings and he finds out that all his money's gone. It's like, where the hell is it? And Price says, we're broke. We're all broke. And Zhang wants to know where the fuck his money is, and Price says, "It's gone. It's gone. It's out there." And he goes, "And you know that project of yours, to go to another world? That's dead as well. And you've run out of time," as he puts it. And he starts laughing and walking away. And at this point, Zhang is not having it and grabs one of the Dark Army's guns and just shoots Price right out in public, out on the street, and kills Price. Just as Mr. Robot and Elliot are leaving across the street, they see all of this. And as Zhang is getting hustled into a car by the Dark Army to get out of there, he sees Elliot across the street walking away. Yeah. And Mr. Robot has a nice little a voiceover where he says, "And just like that, Rome has fallen, and all the top 1% of the 1% have lost all their money. We've done it." And at the very end there, we see the FBI banging on Zhang's door to his house as White Rose is putting on her makeup and getting ready in the bedroom. And the FBI finally says they're coming in. They bust in, and we hear a firefight going on downstairs. And that's where we leave off on that episode. Fucking good episode. Really damn good episode. And what did White Rose say about that dress that she was wearing at the end? That's her sister's dress. That's what that, or was that her sister's or her mother's? Her mother's dress. That's what it was. I'm curious about the fallout of that hack. Yeah, me too, Heather. I agree. There's gonna be some, yeah, and the soundtrack was really good too. Although the remix or the redos of some songs, some 80s songs were kind of eh, but otherwise a good soundtrack. Maybe they ran out of money and they couldn't get the originals like they have before. Her mother's dress. Thank you, Pen. Yes, her mother's dress. That's right. Let me go back and see what people were saying. I know there was some stuff that was coming out fast and furious. Apple Crow says, "I know it's like 3 seasons too late, but this episode really woke me up to how much of a badass Darlene is on her own." Yeah, I know, really, she is. Yes, and we have 3 more episodes left. You're right, JoJo's ASMR. I'm wondering what the final part of the story will be. It's got to involve the machine because we know that. Well, we saw the trailer for next week, and the trailer for next week says that Elliot is going to where the machine is. So we're gonna find out whether or not time travel is actually the true thing of this whole crazy story, and it's sci-fi like I thought it was. Because remember, it's still 2015. It's Christmas 2015 is where this is taking place. It's not 2019. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. Joker says, "I've been impressed with Darlene ever since she took out the lawyer, Madam Executioner." Yeah, I know, really. Uh Kjell Bellman says, "Hi all, amazing episode. Was nice to see that Angela was the one to pull off the hack. So the last few episodes are going to be epic, an epic White Rose versus Elliot battle. Elliot will be going after the machine." Yes, he will. That's what we've seen. Unbridled Tuna. The project is a virtual reality world. Upload the consciousness to a network. Interesting, but I don't know. I think he's talking about another world entirely, like time travel or wormholes or something like that. Because that's what they were talking about in that one whole episode where they had the collider and they were talking about alternate worlds, time travel, uh, wormholes, things like that. So I don't know. We'll find out what's happening, what's going on in Sam's brain there. Mikey Sro, White Rose is about to OFF. Remember the trailer of her walking down the stairs with corpses everywhere? That's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Go off. Yes, go off. That's you meant. Ray Deathray, hey, good to see you again. Didn't expect the hack to be pulled off in this episode. Me either. And it makes sense that we have 3 episodes left to actually deal with what's going on in Elliot with this whole thing of what he needs to be ready for, what he has done, because Mr. Robot says he needs to be shown what he has done, and he couldn't do it until he finished off the mission. Also, White Rose's machine, what's going on with that? The machine in the Washington Township, exactly, unbridled tuna. And yeah, is this actually real? Is this something that is just completely a pipe dream or what? What the fuck happened to Wellick? Because Wellick, we just had the blue light that happened, but we don't know really if Wellick is dead or not. Oh, yeah. Apple Crow says like classical Greek, Deus ex machina. It not just, oh look, here's the end. It works. Bye. Yeah, exactly. What if Mr. Robot is just the prequel to Counterpart? Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting, but I don't know. Yeah. Max Evans says the show is phenomenal, blown away tonight. Yeah. We this is a Fast and Furious episode. I'm fairly sure I'm not a hacker. I don't know any of the script stuff. I don't know how to code anything like that. Obviously, you've seen my webpage. Um, and people are, of course, that are in that industry are praising it. They had a lot of stuff in there tonight that kind of dealt with that. And it looked legitimate as far as I was concerned. I mean, you know, they were throwing out jargon left and right, and I was still keeping up with it, which was good, you know. This show will always be the top 1%. Night, there is a void to be filled by someone else. Yeah, I know. Really, exactly, Heather. It's going to be a hard fill. Well, he's got another show that's coming out on USA. Sam does, and I'll see how that goes. I mean, I might cover that one. Who knows if it's really good. Uh, Kajel Bellman said, Bielman, excuse me, I mispronounced your name, Bielman. Yeah, you see the ATM smashers in a couple of scenes. So either time travel, alternate realities, maybe something more grounded, though, like a new type of power source that could change the world. I don't know. They were talking so much about time travel. We have Back to the Future too, or Back to the Future actually referenced in pretty much all the seasons, so it's gotta be about time travel is what I'm thinking. And he also says, Zhang says about resetting, that pain that you had or, any kind of misgivings that you had, any kind of regrets, things like that. So that's what I'm thinking that, okay, it's pronounced, Chell, like chill. Okay, got it, Chell. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I murder names famously on this channel. I'm really sorry. So, I murder names all the time. What's his other show? Well, he did the one on Amazon, Apple Crow with, Julia Roberts. That was actually pretty good, but the new one is coming out. It's gonna have, uh not Zoe Saldana. Shit. Now I'm blanking on her name. She was in Sin City. Oh, I'm blanking on her name now. All of a sudden, Rosario Dawson. Thank you. Yeah, the Rosario Dawson one. That they keep putting commercials in here in Mr. Robot because that's Sam Esmail's new show that's going to be on USA. Um, yes, Briar Patch. Thank you, Kiki girl. Yeah. Yes, it is the payback storyline. Uh, Bob Longjohn. Great name, by the way. So all the people in season 1 end credits, with White Rose and Price talking about Rome, was the Deus Group? I think so. I think you're right about that. And by the way, that's a great name. It's almost kinda like the, Bob Blah Blah, which is another great name, by the way. Hey, Omnio, you're late. Yeah, I'm actually on the review section right now. So right after this, I'm gonna be doing Watchmen. I'm not doing a recap of Watchmen. I'm just gonna do a review of Watchmen because that's what I've gotten down to at this point on that. So if you guys are interested in that, at 9:15, I'm gonna be doing that. So do you think Darlene will try and help with the taking down the machine? What do you think about that intro with the three at the table? I don't think Darlene's gonna help him take down the machine. She is going to go and try and help Dom now at this point. As we saw in the trailer, looks like they're splitting ways. He's gonna go to the machine. She's gonna go and help Dom. And yeah, the intro with the three at the table, like I said, it raised so many questions. What is it that Elliot has done that we don't know about? And Elliot supposedly was just awakened like months ago by Darlene. So that is Yeah, that's the big thing right there. Those are the 2 big takeaways right there. It was they gave us some answers, but gave us more questions at the very beginning in just those first 3 minutes alone. Sam's famous for doing that kind of shit. Really, he is. JoJo's ASMR. I wonder if we're gonna see White Rose at all now, but I think we won't see her anymore. We just saw her at the end there, and I'm pretty sure that's all we're gonna see from now on is White Rose. I don't think we're gonna see Zhang anymore. Zhang, I think, has gone bye bye. Yeah. Kiki says when White Rose was ready, there was a lot of gunfire going on. Yeah. That was the FBI breaking in and meeting up with the Dark Army. The Dark Army is just inside. Because remember, White Rose left with a bunch of Dark Army agents. They're just waiting inside. So Applecrow says maybe Elliot realizing Darlene is a sister, which starts him down the path of dealing with his family. Could be. Or it could be that Elliot had been dormant all this time, had been the repressed memory or the repressed personality, even though he's supposed to be the real personality. How fucked up is that? The real personality has been repressed all this time since he was a kid and comes now a couple of months ago as a fully grown adult, but still, yeah, there's just too many weird shit, too much weird shit going on. So you think that it's Elliot's internal conversation we were seeing when they were the three at the table? Yeah, that's Elliot's mind at work there, and all the personalities trying to, and they're leaving Elliot out of it. Elliot doesn't know about this room. Yeah. Max Seven says, "Why would we distrust Zhang? Perhaps Angela is alive or can be revived." Well, it was a headshot one, Max. So I don't think she's going to be revived from that. And like Price said, he was there. He watched them drag her body away. What happened to Krista after she went to the police? I think that's all we're going to see of Krista. I think she's done, Emily. Uh, Krista right now is in the hands of the police. So, I believe that's where we're at. They literally can bring Angela back. Never say never, Omni. Like I said, I'm thinking this show is sci-fi. It's going to end up being sci-fi. Yeah. What if Elliot doesn't even look like Rami Malek this entire time and it's the third person? Yeah, I know. I was thinking the exact same thing. I've been thinking about that for a while now. Irene says if Zhang had a time machine, he would have used it when his money was taken away. No, I don't think he had enough money yet. He needed some more power. There's something that's in the Congo that needs to, he said the Congo thing needs to go through first so that the machine can work. I think the Congo is the power source for the machine. That's what it is. And that's the reason why he just needed that machine up and running. And I believe whatever the package was that Elliot sent that was needed was the final piece for the machine in the Congo to work, to get the machine in New Jersey there to actually start up. Everyone keeps forgetting about the thing that's out in the Congo. Remember that's what White Rose was talking about, that the Congo thing needs to happen before the New Jersey the New Jersey machine can actually operate. The ending brought up interesting political question. What's that, Omni? I kind of hesitate to ask, but uh Pilo Pita says, Angela, please come back. I miss you. Elliot will travel to the past. Heather Bishop says, I think Krista could return one more time. She deserves to see the emergence of the other Elliot. True. Washington Township was the test run. They have something that does it on a small scale because White Rose shows Angela something that made her believe and White Rose showed her young Angela in a timeline where her mother didn't die. So that's that whole thing. If you see one of the first promos, there's a scene of White Rose walking down the stairs with a bunch of dead FBI officers. Yes. Yes, it's going to be interesting. We're going to see how this thing ends. Man. Like I said, this was a fast and furious episode, but it gave us a lot of information, and it was nice to see F Society come back for one more just big fuck you to the man at that point, the Deus Group. And that's the way. I mean, to have Darlene come back and do that, yeah, that was just awesome. She did an awesome job. Apple Girl says FBI just sent Dom. She's a badass even when bleeding out. I know, really. Stabbed in the chest, still takes out 3 people while handcuffed as well. Yeah. I can see that those things will wind up this season. I don't know how, but it looks like they're moving along. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm going to actually take off here too in a couple of minutes because, yeah, I've got half an hour before I'm going to be doing the Watchmen review. Um, Omni says at the end, we hear the FBI raiding White Rose's building, and then we hear the guards respond with bullets. The question is, how far is the 1% willing to let us go in our reforms, and how far will they respond? Kind of. I think you're saying that the 1% are so far above the law that they wouldn't allow this to happen. Um, there's a certain point where people start taking stuff back, Omni, uh, like the French Revolution, that kind of thing. And I think that's what Sam was kind of getting at with this is that, yeah, you can piss off people to a certain point where they're just going to start taking shit back. Yeah, if you piss people off enough, that's what he's saying is that people will, eventually fight back. Yeah. Not necessarily. I'm just saying it's a question that was brought up. Oh, okay. Um, let's see here. JoJo's ASMR, they were teasing the third personality so bad. This I know, really. And it's I don't know. I really don't know what it is. And everyone keeps saying that the third personality is another version of Mr. Robot. That there's a version of Mr. Robot that he has his hat on and a scarf. And there's the other version where he takes off the hat and doesn't have the scarf on. And some people in the comment section have been saying that is the other personality that we haven't seen as of yet, but we have. I don't know if that's actually the case or not. And then there's other people that say that Sam Esmail is the other personality because we've seen him in the very first episode aboard the train, and that this could all be Sam Ishmael's other personalities that we're seeing, which would be very, very fucking disturbing. But yeah, no problem, Omni. Yeah, I know if you have character limits, it does kind of hurt to try and get that thing out there with the character limits. Maybe it'll be like the final 5 Cylons. I hope not. Or we get 4 more personalities and none of them know who number 3 is. I really don't want that. Yeah. I'm just like someone said in the last chat that we were in last week, just so at some point you just kind of have to let it go and just ride the wave, you know? Otherwise, it just kind of drives you nuts and you just kind of have to let go and just ride the wave and see where it takes you. And that's what this show is at this point is that we need to kind of let go at this point and just kind of ride it and see where he takes us in these final 3 episodes. Omni says, "What does society do when there's no power to fight back? We aren't in that situation, but it's clearly an interesting scenario." True. Um, oh, Veronica, that's right, Veronica. You were the one who said that. You said, "Let it go and just ride the wave." Thank you. I knew there was somebody that was out there. Just enjoy the ride. Exactly. Jojo saying, "I'm liking the idea the third personality is the real identity of Elliot and Raimi. Uh, is just a personality." I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, they've already posited at the beginning of this episode that Elliot is a personality that's just emerged months ago, and that Darlene was the one that brought him out. So there we go. No, no, no. You didn't get too edgy or political, Omni. You posited a question. That was good. That was all. Thank you, Omni. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, please, by all means, like, share, and subscribe. If you want to know when I'm be on live again next, you can hit the bell. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. If you really want to know when I'm gonna be on live again next, go to my webpage, suspenderfanimation.com. I've got my schedule up there. I change it out every Monday. I also put that up on my Facebook page for those of you who still have Facebook. And also, if you still have Facebook, there's a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. I also have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I have a Patreon page. I don't have any stuff set up on the Patreon pages of yet. Will happen by the end of this year, beginning of next year, because I like to give you guys stuff if you guys are going to give me money. So that's just me. Otherwise, I feel weird about it, you know? Apple Crow says if this was written by some other writers, Elliot would have just kind of forgotten about Mr. Robot. Yeah, yeah. And that's the whole thing. Elliot said last episode that all the pain and everything that's made him him is what he wants to keep. He doesn't want to lose that. And also he doesn't want to lose Mr. Robot either. So he's going to reject White Rose's offer of going back and fixing all of this stuff as it is. Yeah. So, tears in the rain. Yes, Apple Crow, tears in the rain. Yeah. Thank you, Omni. Yeah, I'm surprised that there's not that many channels that are talking about Mr. Robot out there, tell you the truth. It's one of the things that kind of befuddles me. It's a great show. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody, quite honestly, and it's got some good writing. It can be kind of gruesome at times. Uh, yes, I did spoilers on here, Cody. Uh, I have, there's a little spoiler sign right above me here too, above my shoulder. Yeah, it's still there. Couldn't remember if you could see it or not with the advent calendar. Oh, and speaking of the advent calendar, let's see what's on number one. Uh, as I knock stuff over. Let's see what's behind door number one. Hang on a sec. Oh, there we go. Oh, there it is. Oh. It's Little Iron Man, is what that is. Da, 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 da. This is a Funko Advent calendar, by the way. So there we go. All right. It's not chocolate. It really isn't chocolate. It's a Little Iron Man. That's what it is. Oh, thoughts on the idea that Elliot, presumably with all the money, will spend the remaining episodes completing White Rose's project? I don't think so. Yes, it is a baby Funko, but it's not a bobblehead. It's just a baby Funko. Yeah. You don't have to be that intelligent to get Mr. Robot, but it does help that if you think critically a little bit and you know enjoy good writing, things like that. So I don't like being elitist about things and saying, "Oh, you're just not smart enough to get that." You know, there's enough. Yeah, there's enough people. Yeah, those Rick and Morty fans. Hey, to some extent, Venture Brother fans too. So yeah, yeah, he was joking, Omni. It doesn't come through all that well. Yeah, it just requires discussion. It really does. That's why I do the recaps of this show. Everyone gets pissed off that I do the recaps of this show beforehand. It helps me actually think it through. I just watched it just like you guys did, and I'm writing down notes as I'm doing that. And I have to kind of go through that and make sure when I'm reading my stuff, it actually sparks ideas in my head and gives me some clues as to what's happening. Bright Blue says, I don't consider myself particularly intelligent, and I love it. Yeah. Uh, making fun of Venture Brothers fans? No, I did not. No. There's a line of people to arch me already, Apple Crow. And there are people at much higher levels than you are. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, I need to set up for Watchmen at 9:15. If you guys have watched Watchmen, come on by. You're more than welcome to come through and in the chat. Uh, I'm not really digging too much on it. And this week I had a fairly good revelation of things, and I might end up pissing off some people. But yeah, what else is new at this point? Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you if you haven't, if you're just watching this on video. If you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video pop up here. Take a look at that. If you like that, then you hit the subscribe button. Up here is going to be Saturday morning blast off, is what's going to be up there. Thank you, everybody. A revelation that's a bunch of empty mystery boxes. I hope not. Uh, Thanks, everybody. I will see you in about 20 minutes. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that all your money's been taken because you know what? You're part of the Deus Group and you deserve to have your money taken. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in a little bit.